So, this is the final spoiler review of Twin Peaks Season 3 on this channel. Like many of you, there's quite a lot to digest. I'm quite confused by a lot of this episode, but I have some theories, which is why this has been titled in quite a provocative manner. So don't think this is just some way of actually getting you guys to watch the channel. Obviously, episode 17 and 18 are very different entities, and even though they occupy different spaces of the Lynchverse, my job right now is to take a conclusion from both of them and actually give you guys an idea as to how that relates to the rest of the series. This is actually the first time I'm trying to record this, and I'm quite uneased about the whole thing, simply because there are no right or wrong answers, and the revelations that I have to give you are obviously pertinent towards my subjective understanding of the show. And in that revelation there comes a vulnerability. But nonetheless, let's go on a journey. We have various characters who are, well, they're vehicles for plot, and there's no real point in me really dissecting too much about what they have to say, which seems dismissive to characters such as Andy, Lucy Brennan, or even people like Sheriff Truman or Deputy Hawk. So if you feel that these characters have not been given much of looking in, so to speak, or dissection in this video, then I have to apologize up front, because I'm not really interested in them. The ones that do interest me are Dale Cooper, his doppelganger, and Laura Palmer. Now, my theory is this. Dale Cooper has altered the timeline very much because of his belief that he must save Laura Palmer. He's done this unwittingly and has found himself in a completely other universe. Forgive my misspeaking as I do this. I've only just seen the shows, and like you all, it's a lot to take in. But if you cast your mind back to what you just seen, with Pete going out to do some fishing, he doesn't see Laura Palmer's body. It's disappeared because, as we've seen, Cooper has basically gone back in time, black and white style, Fire Walk with Me. We've got so many different things going on, but the main thing is that he takes Laura away from that moment where she could have gone to meet Leo and Ronette and die in that train car. He takes her away, a lot like Orpheus leading Persephone from the underworld to a safer place. Except she's drawn back away from him to what has been predestined for her, as already been seeded by the earlier episodes in the show. Laura Palmer is a sacrificial lamb so that the entity called Bob can be destroyed. Destiny being a big part of this, Greek mythos being, in my point of view, my subjective understanding, a big influence upon this show. Freddy, who has the Hulk fist, I can't believe I'm actually saying this. Lynch, why have you messed up our minds with this weirdness? Freddy, who has the Hulk fist, is determined and will not be stopped to beat evil Cooper. It's his destiny to do so, as he's been told via that whole monologue, which I won't have to repeat. And so we're at a situation now where episode 18 in many ways is not such an epilogue as such, but more of a pilot for what could be season 4. Now, as far as we know, we've been told that Mark Frost and David Lynch have no interest in doing a season 4, unless, of course, there is a significant cry for it. I've never really heard of these guys being at the behest of whether people think it's popular or not. Maybe this communicates as them needing to know if Showtime feels that there's been enough viewings of the show for it to be given a go-ahead. But as far as I know, Showtime is very, very interested in this show, no matter what. Apparently 2 million people have been watching it on a regular basis. And that is by no means like a large amount of people for a show, especially of this cult following. But then again, the key word is cult. Essentially, we could be getting a season 4. I'm very hopeful for that. But then again, that is because I want some kind of conclusion, which I was telling you guys in the earlier episodes that we weren't going to get. That in no way, shape or form is Lynch interested in tying these things up completely. I mean, there was no Audrey. If we look at season 3 and dissect what's happened to her, a lot of what you know about her is probably gleaned from chat rooms and your own theories based on the little that we have, in that she has been in a coma. She has had a child called Richard via being inseminated by the evil Cooper, which is a horrible, horrible conclusion to reach. And the fact that the show doesn't actually tell you those details, but it leaves enough parts there for you to figure that out as a theory. The fact that obviously in the episode 16, Cooper calls, or he says, goodbye, my son. That's a reference to the fact that people thought that he was the father of Richard. But I digress. I have a whole list of different people on my phone that I was supposed to talk about. We found out that Judy is actually a colloquial name given to a negative entity, as Gordon tells us, called Judah or Judea. I can't quite pronounce it, but it's a creature that must be stopped, and Cooper has been in league with Gordon to stop this creature, and it's something that Gordon's not told anyone about. He's not told Albert at any rate, or Agent Tammy Preston. There's so much to discuss that this definitely, as this video is being recorded, I have to do another part. I digress. So Andy, I'm not interested in talking about. He has premonitions now granted to him via Deus Ex Machina, let's be honest. Let's see, Lucy, no. Bob, the whole Bob storyline has now been concluded. There is a finality to it, and that Bob has now been destroyed. I'm happy that's the case, even though I would have liked Cooper to have been the one to truly been the conductor of his demise. It's now done. I mean, I think when the main character has been linked to their opposites for so long, it's down to them to sort these things out. But who am I to dictate which character should actually end this, considering this is all very much very dreamlike and quite maddening. Let's see, who else we got? Diane. Diane has been, the real Diane has been encased inside the character known as Nido, or the Eyeless Woman. If you check the credits, she's known as Nido. So all this time she's been trying to maybe reach out to Cooper, and when he finally arrives in Twin Peaks to save the day, she can finally resolve and be her true form. It's all very dreamlike. The One-Armed Man takes us through the Firewalk with Me poem, which I don't think necessarily has been truly understood until now, because a magician chants out between two worlds. Is he the magician? Cooper stepped from literally episode 17 through a door into episode 18. He even tells the audience via talking to Diane that he'll see her at the final curtain call. It's all quite random. I think that's enough for this first part. Not because I need to... Well, yeah, you know what? Yeah, it's because I need to sit down and really digest this crap. But I can assure you in part 2 we'll be talking about the White Horse, which was on the mantelpiece of the character who doesn't realise she's Laura Palmer's house. We'll be talking about the dead man in the chair. And we definitely have to talk about Mrs. Chalfont, who basically opens the door to Cooper's investigative prowess and denies that the house ever belonged to Sarah Palmer. Because Mrs. Chalfont is definitely a character that we've seen before in Twin Peaks: Fire Walk with Me. Yeah, goodbye for now.